Oh, I haven't got sound on.
I still have it on for some weird reason. By the way, I guess I feel like it used to add some value, but these talking and moving people are actually pretty dang.
Some reason it's just some guy headbanging on the start line.
Hey, Ian, are you gonna be joining us in game? So, Andy, let's get rolling. Ooh, got stuck.
Rolls now.
Wow.
The view number
was a little loud in the morning.
View number 7 is not allowed in the morning? Is that what you just said?
I said that was loud in the morning.
Wow.
they put in all the people.
Nathan Guerra just passed us. He's awake at this time of day? That's incredible.
I just got a notification he was twitching, so.
Oh.
Okay, have you ever known Justin not to be loud?
No.
Let me catch up to Andy. He's already dropping me.
Yeah, you're fat and slow.
So I had to do a big barbecue thing yesterday for the Army birthday. We hosted a bunch of the Dominican Army generals and colonels. Mm-hmm. And I'll tell you what, standing in front of a grill for 4 hours in the sun leaves you dehydrated and you wake up feeling like you were drinking all night.
You sure you weren't?
Oh, I'm positive I wasn't, because I had to do skills and drills last night too after the barbecue. Which was an utter and complete failure due to a power failure right in the middle of it.
Huh.
You need to move country.
Yeah, I keep telling people that, but they won't move me early just because it affects my Zwifting.
You mean that's not a priority consideration for them? How rude.
Surely mental health issues are.
You'd think it is. It's like right up there behind, counterterrorism, Zwifting, and then probably counter-drug, but it's not.
Oh, man.
I mean, let's be honest, the amount of time that people spend playing Zwift makes us extremists, so we're online extremists.
Right, and so I'm out here countering extremism.
No, you're infiltrating. You're undercover. It's fine.
That's right. The problem is, while we may have the EO part of it, we don't have the V, the violent extremist organization.
Oh.
Well, we can manage that if you want. I mean,
yeah.
We've got a few people on our hit list. I
mean, I heard somebody talking about sticking things in somebody's derailleur. I mean, that's pretty violent.
Hey, I'm just saying, if we can get rid of certain individuals who cause us angst, that would qualify. But it would be justified, so it's a win-win.
Oh,
have you seen a Justin sprint? That's pretty violent.
Fair enough. And the beginning of any Zwift race, so that's fair enough. I think we can count it.
So, what kind of gory details should I give you guys and no one else because you guys actually showed up to the start? What's the meatiest, juiciest thing we can tell you about the event, about the Vision Relay?
Oh, I thought you were going back to more violence.
Well, that too. No,
I believe this is being broadcast. Lawyers may not like that.
So how long did it take the whole team?
It's like 26 hours, I think. I had to. He could call me out on that, but it was in that ballpark.
And how much time did you spend on the bike?
8.5 hours total.
Ouch.
Yep. But what's crazy was the you get a lot of break. Like 5 to 6 hours is a lot of recovery time. And as I learned, there's a cycling buddy in town mentioned the other day that he's read that up until 12 hours, your body hasn't really, how do I say, like, recognized the trauma yet. Hasn't actually started repairing the muscles. I don't know if it's true or not, but so basically you just, in those 5 to 6 hours, your body hasn't started hasn't gone into reconstruction where it's actually weaker, but you're actually just replenishing all your food stores. It's kind of like a bit of a longer term interval.
Now, of the Strava feeds I saw of yours, it seemed that they put you on every single uphill.
They did.
Or
yes.
was it just all uphill?
No. They targeted putting me on the uphill segments, so which honestly was quite. Well, I mean, I knew what I was getting into, and I agreed to doing that leg. Man, that was a lot of climbing. That was a lot of just long, dull. Now, my very last leg, we're on Classique, by the way. Sure, we're taking the right turn here. So the very last one was complete downhill, but it was into a headwind, and I felt way stronger on that leg than the other ones, just simply due to the fact that drafting actually allowed me to recover. On all my other legs, it was pretty much. I mean, some of the flats you can kind of recover on drafting, but like this was like, we're going like 25, 30 miles an hour downhill, and there's pretty significant draft advantages. So you could just tuck in behind the guy, let him put in a burst to keep the speed going, come around, punch it at 500 watts for 30 seconds or something, keep the speed crazy, and then go back and recover. And it actually felt.
So
a whole
were
lot
you always
stronger.
on deck with another person from your team, or are you talking about other teams here?
No. So the rules state that you must have at least one rider on every leg. It does not specify a maximum number of people you can have on each leg. So what that means is, when you deem it strategically beneficial to do so, you can put out other riders at any point in the course and bring them back at any point in the course. So you could actually, like, say, so-and-so got dropped or had a flat, put somebody out there to pace him back up to the pack so we don't just die over the next 10 hours. So that was pretty good strategic move.
Did the rivals stay together then? Pretty much, did it stay as a pack race in terms of quite a lot of it, or did it just splinter on the uphills when just single people on their own?
I would say for the first, definitely uphills is where things would splinter, and not just. It probably took until the leg number 5 or 6 for things to really splinter. But yeah, I mean, obviously we all knew that sticking together, it was a fairly reduced pack for a while, So sticking together for us was beneficial because we could distance ourselves to everyone and then duke it out and say, hey, look, you know, I love you and all, but I gotta beat you. I'll give you the we'll kind of go leg by leg, kind of tell you how the packs dwindled down and
Hey, Justin, before
Yep.
you go into that, let me address your comment about the recovery.
yeah.
So I did the 2 relay races called Keys 100. It's a 100-mile run down the Florida Keys, and I did them as part of a 6-person team. And it's 2-mile intervals, more or less, minus the 7-mile bridge. And,
Okay.
you know, so you get, 12, roughly an hour between runs for the most part.
Okay.
And you're thinking, okay, I'm running 2 miles. I can go hard. I got an hour recovery. Yeah, that's awesome for the first 2 or 3 times you do this.
Mm-hmm.
After that, though, you're not getting recovered. You are exactly just rehydrating, maybe replenishing a few calories as needed. But yeah, I can definitely attest from a having done it perspective, not from a scientific perspective, but anecdotal, that you do not get any actual muscular recovery or rebuild back. It's literally just hydrate, a little bit of calories. And I will even tell you that it's almost worse to some extent because that 1 hour recovery means that you have just enough time out of or off running for your body to start stiffening up.
Yeah.
It's probably similar to what you had on the bike.
Well, 5 hours is considerably longer than 1. And most of my recovery was 5 to 6 hours. So I definitely think I think 1 hour is going to be much more challenging turnaround time, frankly honest. I mean, like, I would totally go through phases where, like, I would feel like complete crap when I get off the bike. I'm like, I don't want to ride again. And I just know that I needed to eat. And slowly I'd feel my body start to recharge with that food. And I didn't really get any sleep, but I just relaxed a lot. And then I was actually, my legs actually felt pretty decent after 5 to 6 hours. So,
Yeah, but what was the intensity you were going while you were riding?
well, actually it's hard to say because my power meter was really acting funky. And I was at considerably higher elevation than I normally train. So my FTP was probably reduced for that. But, I mean, the first 3 hour leg, which I think my power meter was functioning properly for, I had a TSS of around 160, which is not crazy for a 3 hour ride. It's like Wagon intensity, although, to be honest, it was a lot more variable. So the variability index, I'm sure, was much higher on that 3 hours than it would have been for a Wagon.
Yeah, plus your TSS is based off of your normal sea level
Right.
FTP.
Right.
So you're probably closer to, 200 or 180.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And yeah, I mean, I agree that 1 hour respite is different than 5 or 6. But, you got to remember, we were only running for 10 to 13 minutes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, so you have that, but my point is just that you're not getting that full muscle recovery. So
Yeah.
while you didn't feel it necessarily for the first couple of iterations on the run like we had, towards the end, your muscle fatigue is starting to set in.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you had something similar on the bike that you just didn't have that top end juice.
Well, so it's funny, is I felt the strongest probably on the last leg. Although the last leg was like downhill and we were doing a team time trial, which I'll get into why.
Yeah, okay.
Even though there was there's a 30 mile an hour headwind for most of the course, which was beautiful, I guess the word maybe some people use, or extremely crappy might be the other one you would use.
I go second one.
So let's see. First leg, everyone starts together out of Moab, 54 miles with like 4,500 feet of climbing. Nothing extremely steep in the climbing category, just a lot of climbing. Just long ways and lots of gradual climbing. Are we at, yeah, let's message that we're going to go up to pace here. So immediately once we left Moab, we had a very strong headwind. And Damon's in here. King Damon. Which meant there's a big, long pack strung out going 13 miles an hour. It's like, right? Like, you want to go up to the front and animate this thing? No, thank you. I'll just sit back here because I'm doing plenty enough wattage just to stay in this pace line because the headwind was horrific. And
Needed some Belgians.
right. So wasn't too far into it. We had a climb where okay, so the other piece of this is the team that was sponsoring me essentially had 3 relay teams in the event. My team that was all men, and 2 other teams that were co-ed, half guys, half women. And we basically had a pact that so long as it was mutually beneficial, we were going to work together. But if, say, at the beginning of a leg, our man just was way stronger than their women, we weren't going to just lose the lead pack because of that. So
Yeah, it makes sense.
anyways, they had 2 very strong.
Races.
Yeah, and the prize money was separate, so it was kind of like help each other when it makes sense, but don't kill each other otherwise. And it's a bit debatable, but there may have been a point where there might have been some strategy against each other towards the end, which will be interesting. Not quite sure what happened at that point, but anyway. All right, so 3 of us working together. The other 2 guys had said, hey, we want to make this thing harder rather than easier. And I'm thinking 30-mile-an-hour headwind isn't hard enough. We're going to lose so many people off the back just due to that headwind alone that I don't feel like I really need to go to the front that often. And lo and behold, we got down to a pack of about 15 or so after the very first climb of any significance, and had a gap off the front, and we basically started working together. Well, and then we hit a section of construction where it was down to 1 lane, and the construction guy was telling us to stop at first, and we're like, no, not happening. We have a gap.
Don't stop.
Yeah, right? So we kind of slowed down, and eventually it was like, okay. Then next thing you know, we're coming in, we're heading against the traffic because the cars were coming at us on that section. And, what was I gonna say? Like semis are coming at us at like 50 miles an hour. There's only 1 lane, and we're just kind of off to the side of the road, feeling like, this isn't so fun. This is kind of dangerous, actually. So we went off to the side of the road that had been recently paved, but nobody was on it, and it was scorchingly hot. We're talking like 95 plus degree weather. And so, of course, the road was ripping up underneath our tires, sticking to our tires, sticking to our brakes. Felt like my bike was falling apart, to be honest. I was like, what's going on? But we didn't stay on that for too long, and they'd switched directions of traffic on that one lane road, and so we went back, got off the road that was falling apart, and went into the normal road. All right, so we got a group, we've got a gap, and we start rotating the pace line to just increase the gap, because we figured there were pretty much no big groups behind us, and certainly none that would make up any time if we started rotating. So the gap started to grow, we were working together, it was all fine and dandy. Things whittled down still after that, and we were probably down to maybe 8 or 9 of us, and started to notice a couple guys not taking turns on, they were really slow to go through the pace line, and we were like, yep, they're gonna be toast. Or mainly like, we're not gonna just tow you, take a turn so you finally get dropped, because we're not just gonna pull you along all the whole way. I mean, did I say that out loud? Yeah.
Nice.
That's not what I said to them, but that's what I was thinking. Wow, this is a big pack we're going through here. So then there was this, have you guys ever heard of Fat Cyclist? Runs a blog?
Yeah.
Yep.
So he had a team there, and he had a very skilled climber in leg 1, which is the leg I was on. And although my intel tells me he was not very experienced in the racing strategy department. So there was a specific point where we were down to maybe 8 or 9 of us, where he attacks through a feed zone. Well, it was an uphill. There weren't really designated feed zones, just any uphill cars were likely to stop and hand you up a bottle. So he decides to give it a go. And at this point, there was only 3 co-ed teams in the lead pack. That kid, and then the 2 teams I was working with. And they actually liked the fact that he decided to go on a solo break. And they kind of looked around the rest of the peloton and said, let's let him dangle. Yeah. So we did. Although the guy who was on Dave Zabrisky's team, they were the only team with professionals per se on their team, and they had originally had a separate category for anyone who had professionals on their team, but only one team registered for that category, and they said, well, we had prize money 3 deep for that category, and they were supposed to start 2 hours later, but it doesn't make a lot of sense to make them just start by themselves. So what they did was they let them start with the rest of us. They rolled the prize money from that category into ours and made it 6 deep rather than 3 deep, which was fine. I mean, honestly, it gave us more strong people to work with, who at the end of the day, we never even really had a chance of beating, so it didn't matter really if we were better than them or not. But so their guy was a guy named Ryan Steers, made me look small. He's on the Team Giant. You may have noticed some of the small mountain biking kids I lose to from time to time are wearing that Giant off-road factory kit. He was on the same team actually. And he was a little concerned about us just leaving this guy out to dry because he didn't want any of the other men's competitive teams closing the gap behind us. So he started pushing the pace, just fine, nothing crazy, but so we bring the kid back in and kind of all work together. And there was another climb coming up where there's probably 2 or 3 more guys who weren't doing their fair share of the pulling, and the second we hit a climb at like 45 miles, they went backwards. And this strong climber from Team Fat Cyclist decides he's going to push the pace. And I went with him for a bit, and so did this big, tall mountain biking guy. But we looked back and saw the group, and we were like, that's a bit too much of a pace. Why do we want to do that? So again, we fell back and let this kid go by himself. In fact, probably for almost for the entire remaining 10 miles, I'd say. He got out a little ways, and then we said, you know what? Let's just keep the gap at like 15 seconds or something, and just let him dangle. So we did. And he, I guess, thought he was giving his team a major advantage into the second leg, where he would be transitioning to a female, and most of us were transitioning to another male. Although 2 of our teammates did have females, but they were like, I think they were like, could drop me on the hills kind of females. Like, they're tiny. We're talking like 105 pounders. Crazy fast girls. And lo and behold, so kid goes into the first transition with like maybe 5 seconds on us. We just purposely didn't close it because it's like, there's no point here. And his teammate got dropped from the lead pack. So there's 6 of us going into the first transition. His teammate got dropped, I don't know how far into the second leg, but it was not very far. So here we are, down to 5 people in the lead pack. 3 of the teams are the ones we're working with. And then there was the Dave Zabrisky's team and the team out of Las Vegas, which I think their team name was Tate's Tater Tots. Although we referred to them most of the races Team 272 because that was the race number and that's all we knew to call them by. Leg 2 was fairly uninteresting. Well, at least, I wasn't racing as part of it, so I didn't know what maybe went down through the leg. But all 5 of them appeared to have worked together, increased the gap, and came through to the second transition all together. And so we find out at the second transition that Dave Zabrisky will be riding the third leg. And he's hanging around in a Cervelo S5 and a disc wheel and like a 10 millimeter front wheel, like the skinniest front wheel you've ever seen. So we're like, oh man. And he's wearing a skin suit, so we're like, he looks like he has a plan to just go solo. And lo and behold, start of this third leg, the guy from the Las Vegas team, Tate's Tater Tots, I think attacked a little ways ahead of the group, got 10 meters, 20 meters up the road. Dave Zabrisky let it happen, and then flew up to him from the remaining group of our 3 guys like they were standing still. Such a hard attack, in fact, that our guy from the men's competitive team got dropped from the 2 men on the 2 co-ed teams. And so we just barely left the transition. We're driving by looking for the pack, and we see it all strung out, and the one in the very back is our guy. And we're like, oh crap, that's not good. So our rider number 4, we still hadn't gone yet, suited up, got his bike out, and got on the road with this guy to help him out. And it turns out he just way overexerted himself trying to stay on Dave Zabrisky's wheel and blown up a bit on a climb, and that's how the gap got made. But anyway, our 2 men's riders from the competitive co-ed teams were working together pretty fiercely. So we drove up the road and said, guys, we threw out another rider for Andrew to pace him up to you guys. The gap is not very big. You would do better to just wait up for him so you'll have a 3rd guy. You'll all go faster. And luckily they did. So then we zoomed ahead in the van after our guy had done the bridge. We picked him up. He only had to go for like maybe 10 minutes of riding to get him back up. But so then we go look at the gap, and it was like, we are not very far into the leg, and Zabriskie was already 4 minutes ahead of everyone. It was just like ridiculous. And I don't remember how long he pulled along the guy from Tate's Tater Tots, but it was long enough that we in the support van were like, there goes 2nd place out the window. Like, we were just sure that was the nail in the coffin, and that we were done for 2nd place. Well, the story I heard later is that Zabriskie was elbowing for that guy to pull through. And that guy's looking at the disc wheel, looking at his heart rate, just trying to hold on to Zabriskie at all. And he's like, dude, you have a disc wheel. You go downhill at like 90 k's an hour. I cannot hold that. I cannot pull through. That's how he described it to me.
And you're Dave Zabriskie.
And you're Dave Zabriskie. Well, apparently Dave didn't like that. And so he attacked him. The guy says he was doing 700 watts to try to hold Zabriskie as Zabriskie flies away. So then Zabriskie just goes to town. That guy gets dropped. We breathe a sigh of relief because that means our 3 guys will absolutely pick up that one rider. There's no way their team would have stayed solo working against our 3 riders for the next 400 miles. Hey, Rogers. So that was a sigh of relief, and we honestly actually thought it was a bit of a mistake on Zabriskie's part to ditch that guy so early, because they were a very strong team. And although, I think Zabriskie would have won no matter what, it was just a matter of between us and that other team who could benefit the most from trying to stay on Team Zabriskie's wheel at the right places to get ahead of everyone else. It's really what the race boiled down to for us. Well, I guess at the end of that leg, Dave had put a 7-minute gap on the chasing 4 guys, and the one guy from the team Tate's Tater Tots on the final climb had actually put a couple minutes into our 3 guys. Just he was a very strong climber, and so there was a bit of a gap there. Well, at that transition point, the guy for Tate's Tater Tots gets on his bike, gets his timing chip, and starts to go. I don't know exactly what happened, but it looked like he was looking backwards to figure out what the gap was, paying more attention to that than what was in front of him. And he, I think, has just turned his front wheel completely sideways and went over the handlebars and actually broke his handlebars, which cost him a good minute and a half for them to realize, just give him another bike and get going. And And I don't, the gap, so it was 7 minutes between Zabriskie and our 3 guys. And I don't remember what the split was in the middle of this other team. So our guy starts, and he's got the 2 women from the co-ed teams with him. And it started out with a pretty decent uphill, it turns out. So this is leg 4 we're talking about. The last first-time rider. And so he drops the co-ed women, just, and not out of an attack or anything, just, didn't want to slow down that much on the hill, knowing that there were our 2 competitors up the road. So he basically gets into time trial mode, and by the time we pass him in the support vehicle, he had caught and attacked and dropped the guy from Tate's Tater Tots. And he was just basically in total time trial mode, hands on, elbows on the bars, drilling it. And we watched the gap for a little bit, and in the team car we kind of thought, you know, it looks like those 2 are just going to be doing Mortal Kombat on each other and not really helping. So we almost had said to them, look, you'd probably do better off to fall back 30 seconds and work with that guy. Well, he didn't think so, our rider. It was also at this point over 100 degrees, hottest part of the day. And he just kept going total beast mode. And, excuse me. We went up the road a little ways and sat and waited for him and took another time gap. He had cut the gap to Dave Zabriskie's team in half, from 7 minutes to 3.5 minutes. We were like, whoa, dude, beast mode. And I don't honestly remember at that point how far back, are you okay? I don't remember how far back Tate's Tater Tots were, but as soon as we told him he had cut the gap in half, it was like a big, massive carrot. He knew he was making up time, and he decided to just continue the course and go for broke. So he ended up KOMing 80% of the segments on that route, including the entire segment for the entire leg. He closed the gap to Dave Zabriskie's team, and there was a fairly significant gap to both the co-ed teams behind him and Tate's Tater Tots. Okay, so now next transition point, my turn to go again. And we had radios to communicate between our van, and we had a Subaru that was leapfrogging the riders to give them water, food. And so we basically used the radios to communicate how far they were, how long until transition. Well, by the time we got done screwing around at the next transition point and paid attention to the radio or contacted them, they were like 1.5 miles out, screaming downhill. And I was like, oh crap. So I totally had to throw on all my stuff super fast. Didn't even have time to get food in my pockets. They just threw 2 random bottles in the car that had some water in it in my bike. And here I am matched up against the rider from Dave Zabriskie's team, professional mountain biker. And they had a very interesting handoff transition technique where instead of like what everyone else was doing, everyone else would stop, take off the timing chip, and pass it along. Well, they would just keep rolling. The guy would just keep his timing chip in his back pocket, so he would take it out, get it low enough to get the sensor, and the next guy would start rolling up to speed, get alongside him, stick it in his back pocket, and go. This caused for me to have a fairly decently sized gap up to this professional mountain biker at the beginning of my second leg. So leg 5 of 12. And I knew that definitely had to close that, otherwise it was going to be lights out. So the first 2 miles into this headwind, I absolutely buried myself and caught up to him, and my heart rate was at 190, and I was just like, dead. I'd have to go look at what that 2-minute effort was, but I'll tell you what, starting a 2-hour plus ride with 4,000 feet of climbing with a 2-minute long near maximal effort was not a smart idea.
Oh, quit whining. That sounds like easy stuff.
Yeah. So here I am thinking, this guy's going to drop me at any minute. I'm completely vulnerable right now. And I kind of took some pulls, but I mean, they were short. And I was all about getting as much in his draft as possible. And I couldn't quite tell if he was really wanting to work with me or drop me or what. But when he pulled through, he was pulling through pretty viciously, and he was guttering me with a strong side wind. Well, I took a chance and said, maybe this guy just isn't thinking about those things because he's a mountain biker and he doesn't do road racing pace lines that often. And I only dropped 2 times during yesterday's commute. Nice night train. Well, so I said, hey, when you take your pull, just come through a little bit easier because you're going pretty hard. And and then ramp up, which he did. He changed pretty rapidly, so either he wanted to have the illusion that he was working with me, or he really just wasn't thinking about it. And then he continued to gutter me a little bit, and I said, hey, just when you take your pull, don't hug the edge of the road, go out a little bit so I could actually recover and help you, which he did. That was good. So we worked together and complained together because the headwind was very strong, and we're killing ourselves out there going like 18 miles an hour on the flat because this headwind was just so strong. So pretty crummy. We come to the first incline of the day of any significant gradient of the leg, I should say, not of the day. But it wasn't an extremely long one, but it was, maybe at least 8%. I have to go back. Don't quote me on that number. It could be wrong. The point is, it was steep enough to where my fried legs were starting to cramp, and he was much stronger. And I said to him, hey, look, you definitely can drop me on this climb, no doubt about it, but I guarantee you, I know there's more sections of like false flats where we can work together and be much faster if you just don't drop me here. Well, his words were, I can't go that slow on the climb. I didn't hear the rest because he was getting too far away from me. And
now you know how the rest of us feel.
Right? So I just figured, okay, well, settle into pace on the climb so that your legs don't completely lock up on you. Like, Don't go past that limit. You know what that is right now. Just be steady and consistent. And the downhill may be a different story. Who knows? Maybe he'll kind of sit up. Well, he didn't really sit up, but I soon was paying attention to the fact that he was not very aerodynamic in his position. And I said, I know how to go down on my elbows and just time trial this thing. Well, so I did that, and lo and behold, that gap just started tumbling pretty quickly. I didn't have to kill myself, but I pretty much just settled into, I typically hold 240 watts on the Wagon. I settled into about 270 or 280 at that TT pace, and started pulling him back. And it took a while, but I was definitely flying along. And so I get up to him and I said, see, I told you, you weren't going to stay away. We both just killed ourselves for how many miles instead of helping each other. And instead of putting time on the third place team, we both just put ourselves in the hole. And now I can't help you because my legs are about to cramp again from having caught you. And I'm going to have to sit on your wheel for a while until I can actually be of any use. And so...
Nice line.
Yeah. I found out later that...
And you suck, by the way.
I found out later that I think he had a Bluetooth comm directly back to his Mercedes Sprinter van. I don't know how much of this psychological gameplay that I was launching against him made it back to his team car, but I'm gonna guess nearly all of it. They were probably saying, drop this dude, he's an idiot, he's just playing mind games on you. I'm sure they were saying things like that. So we basically came to an agreement. I said, hey look, I'll motor us along on the flats, so long as you don't just completely destroy me on the climbs, and this would be beneficial because, as just shown, I can hold better speeds in the flats, and you can hold better speeds in the climbs. So, no major objections to that. Seemed okay with it. And so I did. I took some longer TT pulls in the front once I was rested. And it was fine. But the leg ended in a fairly significant amount of climbing. So that was the point where he just said, all right, well, thank you for pacing me along the flats. It's uphill to the end, sayonara. Yeah, which, you know, honestly, could I have expected him to do anything else? No. And if I knew he was going to drop me on the climbs, would I have played my strategy leading up to it any differently? No. Because I needed to put on that speed on the flats to stay away from our third competitor, no matter what was going down. So I was pretty dead from having started that leg with a 2-mile maximal effort to get on this guy's wheel, getting my heart rate up to 190. Plus, it was the heat of the day. I think maybe it dropped to 96 degrees by that point in time. It was like 7 o'clock at night, maybe 8, forget exactly. But so plus we were at altitude, so my FTP was considerably lower. We're talking the lowest point in all this was probably 3,000 feet above where I normally train. And the highest point was like 7,500 feet above where I normally train. So definitely played a factor. So again, I had to just settle into my pace at the end of that leg. Try to, not lose too much time I'm the guy ahead of me, although I had no illusions that we would ever see that team ever again, which in fact we never did. And I wanted to basically try to keep the gap to the third place men's competitive team who was behind me. And I didn't know where that team was in relation to our two co-ed teams chasing. Well, it turns out that on that leg, while I was working together with this guy from Team Zabriskie, our two very strong climbers from the co-ed team were doing that leg. They started behind me because their women had gotten dropped on leg 4. They caught up to, attacked, and dropped the team Tater Tots to the third place men's competitive team. So they had dropped him and put a fairly significant gap on him, which I didn't learn till later, but that was a very significant turn of events to basically put us in a place where now, once it came back together of our three teams, we could definitely stay away from that one team chasing us and not really have a chance of catching Zabriskie's team, but we didn't really care about that. So it wasn't.
These women sound beastly.
Yeah. So Lindsay Stevenson and dang, I forget the other one. Marcy Kimball. One of them was the gal from Team Fat Cyclists blog write-up last year, where she KOM'd like every leg, or QOM'd like every leg. You remember that?
Yeah.
In fact,
Awesome.
you remember from his write-up on the first leg where there was a guy who said something like, "I wish everyone would quit going half speed," and then he just zoomed off into the distance? That's one of the guys that was recruiting me, although he was on the co-ed team. He was on the co-ed team having stolen 2 of the fastest riders from Fat Cyclist team the year prior. On purpose. And his goal was to basically lay the smackdown on Team Fat Cyclist. I think in the end,
with half their crew.
yes. So, this is part of the reason why we let their rider number 1 dangle on stage 1, because Nate wanted to basically make sure that they had 0 chance of being with us in the end, which they were like at least an hour behind our 2 competitive teams, I think. Don't quote me on that. At least 30 minutes, we'll say. Okay, so I get done with that leg, which is my second leg. I'm cooked, absolutely fried. Legs got ripped off by this guy. I was ready to just be done. And
you can call him a jerk, Justin. You can call him a jerk. That's fine.
I could, but it wouldn't be truthful, because he did work with me on the flats. Although our teamwork, on quotes, in the flats was way inferior to that of the 2 strong guys from our co-ed teams on that same leg, because they were like 10 minutes faster than us on that leg, just because they were being cooperative and they didn't start out with a near maximal effort.
Right, because he was being a jerk.
Right? Anyway,
Jerk.
so I get in the car and we send our guy out for leg number 6, which was a climb in the dark to the highest elevation of the race at 9,600 feet. And the very fast descent after that. Later, okay. Thanks for coming, buddy. And So he had told us to take a bottle to the top of the climb to give to him. And so we went to where we thought the top of the climb was, although it turns out there was a false summit like 5 miles before the real summit. So we're sitting there, and we see him go by, and we think, okay, here's the descent. You know, and then we kept driving for like forever until the real summit, and we're like, oh crap, that's gotta suck. And it was not a very sheltered climb. It was into the headwind. All the things that make it brutal, epic, you name it. I was in the car, glad to be in the car. So we go down to the next transition point and wait for them to come in. And at that point is when Zabriskie's team transitioned to Zabriskie. And I'm pretty sure they had, in fact I know precisely, they had a 13-minute gap on us at that point, grown from the 4-minute gap that their mountain biker had put on me on that one stage where he dropped me on the climb. So he put 4 minutes onto me, and then his teammate put 9 minutes into my teammate with that big climb, and then they handed it off to Zabriskie, who proceeded to put an additional 17 minutes on us in the following leg by himself, while we had 3 guys working together. Because you see, after the steep
With
climb,
his disc wheel again?
no, he was sans disc wheel this time actually, and about the time, somewhere along the, those, let me remember this. We came into that transition point when Zabriskie started. This is leg 7. So we came into it with several minute gap ahead of our co-ed team and just sent our guy out solo. Ended up, he had a flat. They had 2 guys working against him. So somewhere along there, they 3 came together, which actually was a good thing because we didn't want to have to go solo. We were going to be losing time to the 3rd place men's competitive team unless we were working together with someone. So it comes back together. Going into leg 8, where we had our guy who had pulled back previously the 7-minute gap to Zabriskie's team was paired up with the 2 women from the co-ed teams. Now these were probably the weakest, less strong 2 women of the 4 on those 2 co-ed teams. But he knew, I don't remember exactly what the elevation profile was, but he knew it was not a lucrative or beneficial option to drop them because we really needed their 2 strong guys with me on the next leg to continue and stay away from the 3rd place men's competitive team. So I think he pretty much did the lion's share of the work, trying to just let them draft as much as possible so he wouldn't drop them, pull them along. Now again, this is paraphrased. I didn't see any of the actual play-by-play here because I was trying to sleep. Unsuccessfully, but so leg 9 begins 4:20 in the morning, pitch black, 36 degrees outside, and I'm paired up with our 2 strong climbers from the 2 co-ed teams, and we say, hey, look, looking to finish strong rather than kill ourselves here, so let's just be cooperative and take all the climbs at a pace that, doesn't kill us, but we can sustain for the whole thing and just have a nice steady effort. Well, nice steady turned into two of us were exhausted and wiped out about 30 miles into this. It was only like 36 miles total for this one, but there was 3,400 feet of climbing. So Nate man-wiring towards the end when there was climbs, basically it was just recovering while me and Derek Edwards went deeper and deeper into the hurt box on every climb. But it was fine. He knew that he wanted the three teams together. It was still beneficial for him. There was no point in him dropping the other co-ed team. So he didn't pull away. And when we finished that leg, going into the beginning of leg 10, it turns out that we had a 20-minute gap over the team from Las Vegas, third place men's competitive team, Tate's Tater Tots. So we were feeling quite confident. There's like, 80 to 100 miles left, 20-minute gap. That's a massive gap. We have three people working together. How could that ever be a problem? Well, here's how it could become a problem. On leg number 10, you heading out, Andy?
No.
Oh.
Holding on, I'm just dying.
I think Night Train was just leaving.
Okay. See you, Night Train. Okay, so going into leg 10, we've got our guy who's a fairly punchy, strong climber, paired up with the two beastly women from the co-ed teams, Marcy Kimball and Lindsay Stevenson. And it turns out that there was pretty much a 40-mile long technical and fast descent as the main part of this leg. Our guy didn't realize that and still had on like 80 mil deep wheels. Oh, and by the way, there was very strong side winds on this descent. And it ended up turning out he for some reason only had 40 pounds of pressure in his front wheel. So, and he had recently changed his frame because he'd had speed wobbles at high speeds, and he was feeling a lot more stable on this new frame, but still had in the back of his mind this, speed wobble scare, essentially. Well, the end result at the end of this leg is that the co-ed teams came in like 4.5 minutes ahead of him.
Wow.
So you remember there was the guy who was really strong and decided not to drop me and the other co-ed climber. He had continued on into this leg, and from what I saw from Strava, he actually only went maybe 6 miles in and got out. So I thought he was done. Well, at some point again, he recovered a little bit and went back out. And when he went back out on the road, was either immediately before or immediately after our guy had started losing a gap to his women. So it definitely looked like, and I don't know if this is true or not, he had gone out there to basically help them bury us and beat us. Which, he's competitive, I get it, but we were kind of like, really, dude? We've helped your women, we've specifically not dropped them in certain points to help you out. And we don't know, it was confirmed that he was just trying to beat us, but there was certainly no competitive teams in sight that he was trying to, or co-ed teams in sight that he was trying to stay away from, nor did he ever have any hope or dream of closing the 30-minute gap to Zabriskie's team. But it is what it is. And so our guy came in, coming into leg 11, we had about a 4.5 minute gap behind the co-ed teams, who were handing off to two very strong men. One was Ben Stevenson, who had ridden with Fat Cyclist previous year, and a guy by the name of Jason Bond, a international sales rep for NV Wheels, by the way. Good guy to know. Anyway, and we had
My new sponsor, yeah?
yeah. Well, he's a good guy to know. I know that much. That's for sure. So very strong headwind on leg 11, and we had our one guy basically flailing against the two strong men from the co-ed teams into a headwind, and we were quite positive the gap was still massive back to Team Tate's Tater Tots. But we didn't really know because we didn't pay attention to what that gap was when we saw our guy got dropped from the co-ed teams. We were too preoccupied with that situation. Well, we let our guy on leg 11 go solo for a while, and then realized it was already getting hot again in the day, up to the 70s, and very strong winds. And we decided we needed to deploy two more riders to help him out. Specifically, the guy who had gotten dropped by the women on leg 10 was quite motivated to...
because it was his fault.
Yeah, right? He was pretty pissed. So in his defense, he ended up stopping and getting a different front wheel from our support car, and that helped him considerably on the descent afterwards. But that definitely cost him at least a minute or two to get that wheel change. But I think he was a lot more aggressive after that. So I'm driving the van. We set out the guy who had gotten dropped by the women first, and then we went up the road a ways and put our fourth leg rider, who was queued up to still ride leg 12, but he was okay with doing some work before his leg to help this guy out. So I staged them alongside the road, and I'm waiting right next to where the second guy joined up with them, and he says, "Hey, you just stay here for a little ways, calculate the time gap back to the third place men's competitive team, and let's just make sure it's at least still 7 or 8 minutes. Just it couldn't possibly be that low, but let's just make sure it's not." So I stayed there, and 90 seconds later, that guy comes flying by. It was their strongest climber. Yeah. And I swallowed a rock and was like, oh no. We're like...
You just peeled rubber right there.
60 miles from the finish, 90-second gap. Luckily at that point, they hadn't deployed more than one rider, although they had just gotten finished with a fairly long climb.
Justin, let you go.
Say what?
You're holding on a wheel that's going about 5 watts per kilogram.
Oh, okay. I didn't know I was holding his wheel. Sorry. Yep. was I gonna say?
You peeled rubber. to
Oh, yeah,
relay
so-
the info.
Well, I wasn't sure it would help because, so here we are putting guys down on the road. Their team car is leapfrogging our team car and is counting the bikes on our bike rack and knows there's only one bike on our bike rack. So they know
Yeah.
that we just deployed more guys. And you know they're about to do the same. So
And they think it's because you guys know that they're so close, but little do they know that you don't, that your guys don't.
we
know.
got dropped by our own teammates who attacked us, apparently. Right? We had no idea they were closing the gap on us. So I radioed the other small car and said, guys, I don't know if we should tell them this, but the gap's at 90 seconds. And that scares me. But quite frankly, I'm not recovered enough to put a fourth rider on the road yet. And I still think it's too early to put a fourth rider out. So I'm not sure there's anything we could even do here other than just watch and see what happens now that we have 3 men on the road. And they said, you know
Would
what?
you just abandon your car there, the one you were driving?
We had 2 drivers in the other support car. So they would
the
have
other car. Gotcha.
so they would have been able to drive the van. They said, you know what? Let's not tell them. They'll just freak out. Let's just watch the time gap and let's try not to hang back to where we see the other team car, because if they can see us, that's a carrot. So the further we stay ahead,
Yeah.
the better. So we'd crested a climb, we got onto a descent, and we had 3 guys, and their guy that had almost caught us was a very strong climber, which means by himself would not necessarily be a very good descender. So all said and done, we let 2 guys finish out leg 11. We pulled back the guy who was going to start leg 12 and took him to transition. And those 2 guys came into the final transition with a 3.5 minute gap over third place team. So we had grown it by 2 minutes,
Nice.
which was good.
Yeah.
And very, very strong headwind. And we were 10 minutes behind the 2 co-ed teams. And as far as we could tell, 10 years behind Dave Zabrisky's team. We had no idea, but just
Yeah.
hadn't seen him in forever.
Yeah, they were done at that point.
Probably. So the profile of the last leg was a bit of a flat section into a headwind, followed by a fairly decent climb and a 30-mile long descent into a headwind to the finish. So we had just deployed our 1 guy for everything to at least the top of the climb. Just because, to be honest, I was not convinced that I was going to be riding a 4th time. I was telling myself, there's no way I can do it. I was just so dead at the end of that last climbing leg. I just didn't think I would be of any use to anyone. And so they were using quite a bit of peer pressure to get me out, I'm not going to lie. And so what happened was we got to the top of the climb, we recalculated the time gap, and it was down to 3 minutes. Now we checked Strava afterwards, and our guy actually destroyed the climb, but he had lost time on the flats because the other team had deployed 3 riders at the beginning of the last leg, which did help them on that flat, but we believe actually hindered them on the climb because the 2 guys that had to pull along their weakest rider were just out there burning themselves up for nothing because they wouldn't really be able to help their guy get up the climb, right? I mean, a little bit,
Yeah.
but not much. So at the top of the climb, I said, okay, fine, I'll get suited up. So I started throwing my stuff on, and we deployed our rider number 2 immediately, who actually leapfrogged a little bit with rider number 3. They took turns going out and giving a strong pull, stopping, getting in the car, driving the other guy up to hop in, give the other guy give him a pull while I'm changing. So total, yeah. You could put people in at any point in time. So as I'm getting ready to go out, I didn't know what the time gap was because I was just focused on getting ready, and the other car was still calculating it. But the guy who basically organized the whole team and did a lot of the buying of hotels and everything for us turns to me as I'm getting suited up and says, okay, well, I was planning to use prize money to pay for the van, hotels, etc. But if you guys stay ahead of this team and we take second overall, I'll let you 3 split the prize money. This guy clearly was not hurting in the money category.
Nice.
Didn't care much, but he's like, look, let's just got to dig deep and let's do it. Whoa, big pack.
Wow, what is this?
Right? So I'm not going to lie, that was a bit of a motivator. And once I got out on the road with the other 2 guys, I tried to yell at them, Drew said we could split the prize money if we win. Or, getting second place was winning. Let's put it that way. So they didn't hear me though. But I ended up being much stronger in those last 30 miles than I had expected, because I was able to recover a ton in the draft at 25 miles an hour, more so than I ever was able to on all of my climbing segments. So we just buried it and eventually got all 4 guys on the road. Team time trialed it, and turns out the gap at the finish was 6 minutes. So in the last 30 miles,
Nice.
we put another 3 minutes on them. So yeah.
So you averaged 24.7 miles per hour for those
Downhill
last 30 miles.
for 30 miles. Yeah, I mean, it was headwind. You could have gone way faster if there was no headwind, because it was like a 2,000 foot descent. I mean, it was a pretty big
Yep.
descent. But yeah, that felt pretty awesome. We worked really well as a team, and I was like so strong on that last section just because I had the most rest of anyone else. They had all been killing it on legs
Yeah.
10 and 11, or 11, second half of leg 11, and I came in fresh and had to be very careful about when I turned on the fire to not drop them and keep them in my draft and things, but it's just recovery times. And downhill headwind definitely suits a large power number fat guy. So yeah, that was
Dang.
how it played
That was
out.
like the longest story ever told on the wagon.
An hour and 20 minutes.
Hour and 20 minutes straight.
Yeah, it was wow, whoa,
And I have a question.
the sea of
And I have a
sprinters.
question.
Yep.
So for the fat guy good down hills, why was the decision made to put you on all the uphill sections?
Well,
Yeah, you had the most climb.
yeah, I mean, so our of all the 4 guys we had, I still think it was best decision to put me on the climbs. Our rider number 2 had much more.
Why are you riding 4.0 too?
Oh, sorry. Because you're asking me questions. Rider number 2 was a much better on very steep stuff. And you remember that climb going all the way up to 9,600 feet? So we needed him there so that we didn't just lose massive amounts of time, because he's definitely better on the steeper stuff than I am. But it was, most of my climbing was like 2 to
Long steady.
5%. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it actually
Yeah.
was really good for someone who could just put out big numbers for a long time, and do a fair amount of drafting in there as well. So, I mean, I think except for the one point where I got dropped by the professional mountain biker on the steep stuff, and they just went away. I mean, I guess you could say that was my one fatal flaw for the race, was letting him go, but honestly, I had no choice. It just wasn't going to happen.
Yeah.
And originally, were you meant to do 1 less leg than everyone else?
No, everyone had the same number of legs. And then the guy who was our last rider ended up doing a fair amount of work before he rode, like pacing the guy up after Zabriskie ripped apart the field. And then when the guy got dropped by the co-ed teams, pacing him up. So I feel like we all did a significant amount of work other than our 3 legs. So definitely, So I think my total was 160 miles and 14,000 feet of climbing or something. But quite honestly, because there was such long breaks in between, it did not feel like that's kind of the same numbers as like the ultimate challenge down in Utah. And this was a different kind of stress on the body, because it was more about just being completely exhausted for sleep, honestly, and heat and elevation. I mean, I slept maybe 30 minutes from the morning we started the race until 11 o'clock at night the day we finished. So
Nice.
and of course we went up on the podium, and by the time we got there, Zabriskie's team was all showered and pretty and neat, and they had pulling out their brand new pristine podium kits that they had never worn before and looked all snazzy. Yep. And they had cold hard cash for the payout, so the guy pulled out a massive wad of cash out of his backpack and started handing it out
Just
to the
cash on the scene. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
I guess
That never happens.
so. It was the total purse was $9,000. Plus, he had a bunch of other things he had to pay, and I guess there was a mix-up with his accountant. I was talking to him at one of the transitions, and he said, so, lo and behold, my accountant meets up with my wife to hand it to her, and hands her $20,000 in cash in a bag. I guess...
I'm going to need this guy's name and contact information.
Right? I said, were they all in $5 increments? So yeah, his wife's like, okay.
Was it handcuffed to him?
Right? So the other guy, our prize money was $12.50, so he handed us each 4 Benjamins right on the podium. And there we go. That was it. So,
Dang.
I'll take it.
Well, that means you can no longer race in our A category races anymore, Justin, because technically you're a professional.
Yep. You've been paid.
Well, it does bring my earnings up to $528 on the year.
Hey, you're only slightly above the average pro Ironman athlete.
Except pro Ironman have to pay $1,200 just to get into an event, a single event. Okay, it's only $700.
Yeah, no, I mean, they're net negative. That's for damn sure. Actually, that's one of the best deals around. If you can get a pro card, you know, you sign up. I think it's like $1,500 or whatever, and you can get in any race as long as there's slots available.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
So if you were independently wealthy and decided to become a quote-unquote pro, you could just race all the time at all the cool races whenever you want and never make the podium.
It's tough to get yourself there.
Yeah, hence independently wealthy.
Or willing to drive a crappy car all the way across the country all the time. Or internationally for Ironman.
Exactly. Well, it sounds like you had a good time.
Yeah.
Had some good race tactics falling out at the end, which is awesome.
Yeah. That was definitely what differentiated it from any other race I've done was the tactics were so important. Even small decisions that could make a huge difference over massive time that you wouldn't know about otherwise unless you were smart about it.
Because they're amplified 10 hours later. Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
That's a freaking butterfly flaps his wings and a 10-minute gap opens 3 hours down the road.
Exactly.
So I forgot to mention one piece of the drama. So you remember I mentioned on leg number 4 when the third place men's competitive team had a crash at the very beginning and broke his handlebars.
Yeah.
Grabbed a teammate's bike.
Yeah.
So we were leapfrogging, watching the gaps, and we saw him motor pacing behind their team minivan.
What?
We stopped immediately. I jumped out of the passenger side of the van, pulled my phone out, and started snapping pictures. And as soon as I pulled my phone out, their minivan like slammed on the gas and accelerated away super fast. And the guy came by with this sheepish look on his face. And later on, at a different transition point, he said, "They were fixing my seat." It's like, what?
Yeah, okay.
I mean,
This guy's name, Antonio Nibali?
he definitely needed a seat adjustment. It wasn't his bike. I get it. But, so, later on, I found that Dave Zabrisky's team, who had a camera running on the front of their van the whole time, also caught them motor pacing and holding onto the car while fixing the seat post, while adjusting the height. We thought,
Oh, you're not just talking about motor pacing. You're talking about sticky hand.
well, I didn't see the sticky hand. Zabrisky's team supposedly saw that. So quite honestly, that was one of the reasons we had shut them out of our mind, because the two other teams had hard evidence against them for straight up cheating. And
Wow.
we were ready to deploy it if necessary. So it was like, they better not have the balls to even try to compete with us because they were motor pacing. But
Well, they must have if they got up to 90 seconds to you.
yeah, so I mean, I'm sure our guy who was had a lot of trouble on that descent could have lost some significant time if the other team had a much better descender there. Plus, they had their strongest climber coming out in the section where it was leg 11. Pretty decent climbs. There was a headwind, but the guy was still small. And we had our probably least fit rider on that leg. So there's definitely, it's not inconceivable, although we were quite positive that they had motor paced again. We were like, are you kidding me? They must have been motor pacing again. But then we said, okay,
once they do it, then you just assume they've been doing it all day. Yeah.
Yeah, although our leader was like, all right, guys, let's give them the benefit of the doubt. Like, let's not just flail over and hope that our evidence gets us second place. Like,
yeah,
let's just give them the benefit of the doubt and play the game. Okay.
Let's beat them and then get them DQ'd.
Exactly.
double whammy.
Oh, the other thing I forgot to mention. So we were 10 minutes behind the co-ed teams going into the last leg. And it was maybe 15 miles from the finish that we had our water bottle guy yell, "You're only 30 seconds behind the co-ed teams." We're like, what?
Oh, wow.
And there was a climb. We looked up, and lo and behold, one of the women must have bonked because the men were going pretty slow. And the guy who I was working with, that was his leg, and I had already a couple times taken much stronger pulls than were requisite for keeping him in the draft, said, "Easy, Tiger. Easy on this climb. Steady. Like, I know there's a carrot right there, but just if we've made it this much time, we're definitely going to blow by them." And we did. So,
to be fair, though, you have to tell jackasses that all the time. There's a carrot in front of them.
Right. It was fine. I mean, I probably would have gone harder on that climb just because I saw them there and then I should have. But, so not only did we stay ahead of the team that we could have DQ'd for motor pacing, but our own teammates who, near as we can tell, turned on us so that they could have the victory of beating us at the end, we also beat. So, felt pretty good.
Welcome to Game of Thrones cycling style.
Now, it's not confirmed that they purposely were trying to beat us, but the guy who came in and was doing help on the leg where we lost the most amount of time certainly was not an idiot when he comes to strategy. Like, he's totally the guy like me that pulls out all the spreadsheets, analysis, colors, numbers. I mean, he knew what he was doing. So,
Yeah.
anyway, we don't know exactly what he was doing, but whatever it was, he knew what it was.
So all I get from this whole story is this is Justin's long-winded way to say, guys, we should put together a Ram team.
A Ram team.
Oh, man.
Hey, Zabrisky's support vehicle.
Isn't that what Zabrisky's doing now?
I think so. He had a Ram support vehicle. Their license plate said Ram something or other. So, yep. I'm sure there's plenty of more stories that could be told from the several legs that I didn't ride. But, you know, an hour and a half of storytelling is still pretty decent.
It's acceptable.
And I purposely didn't turn on my Pandora music today so that I could upload this to YouTube for linkifying. after the fact. Whew. Fact. Yeah, and then I'll let it go the full 3 hours and then upload it. Let's see, we got Damon, we got Brett, we got Eric, and a few tag-alongs in the newbie Zwift kit who apparently are sprinting every lap.
It's that huge group we passed,
Yeah.
which is annoying. There's still a couple of them hanging on to us.
Did they take the green jersey? I saw some pretty massive numbers when they sprinted by us.
You know, I don't know. Probably.
9.83. C Chow ODZB.
That's ODZ. Huh.
Full
I'm
power
just
now,
doing
Greg.
endurance. There is zero chance of me going for any sprint, orange, or KOM jerseys.
So, turns out that, Eric, you know this, that the Endurance360 won the LP200 relay event. I guess they also won Salt to Saint by like
Oh, wow.
45-minute gap or something. So,
They're just going through the area, picking off all the big guys, huh?
right?
Dang.
In fact, I think this Vision Relay was the one where, I mean, not considering Zabrisky's team, they had the smallest margin of victory of only 6 minutes over the next
Yep.
closest competitor.
Only two reasons for that. One, really, really stiff competition, which is what I'm going to go with, or they sent the C squad.
Well, let's put it this way. Two of the strongest so the two guys from the co-ed teams that were riding the same legs as me were definitely two of the powerhouses for the LP200 team. So we didn't have them on our team.
Oh, nice.
But I
I
mean,
see. Yeah.
we still, as an overall team, took second, third, and fourth in the overall competition, which is dang impressive,
Yep.
considering third and fourth, we took second, fourth, and fifth. Considering fourth and fifth were co-ed teams.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not questioning your strength. I was just hoping your continued argument here, though, is detracting from what I said. Was the competition was super stiff.
Yeah, well, I'm just I'm saying that, yeah, I mean, I think it was definitely a steep competition, I'll say that much. But also, I think we spread out our strength across multiple teams, which in one way was a massive advantage when the three of us would work together against the other teams, but maybe also a disadvantage when you didn't have,
When you'd start duking it out against each other.
right? And the fact that we could have put four
Accidentally.
massively strong guys on one team and maybe you've been within 10 minutes of Zabriskie at the end, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like outside of Zabriskie, you guys would have, the top four riders in all those three teams would have competed against the other three on Zabriskie's team.
We,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the third place men's team, the third place overall, definitely was put into a disadvantage when we were working with our co-ed teams. And that's why we put 20 minutes on them. And if we didn't have our co-ed teams to work with, I guarantee we probably would have been working a whole lot more with them to stay away from other people, and then duked it out at the end.
Yeah. Nah, dude, it's really impressive that you guys crushed it. Sounds like you had a really good, strong day of riding too. So pretty impressed.
Next up,
I was just liking what you did to the grilling that I did yesterday morning. It's probably about the same effort.
I'd say almost the same magnitude, yeah. Let's see here. So now, tonight we start heading over towards Seattle for it's either 85 or 90 mile long road race on Saturday, which I'm beginning to realize I got to do something about water. Because 2 bottles probably won't be enough, and I don't know if there's neutral support or what. Maybe I'll have to carry. Maybe I'll have to carry some bottles in my pockets. I don't know.
You can always go Bear Grylls style.
Bear Grylls style.
Drink it out of your
Drinking your own urine.
Oh. Yuck. Well, you know, it was so hot during the vision relay. Like, I was drinking well over, probably close to at least 30 ounces an hour. And I thought I was hydrating myself like crazy. And then I got to the end of the stage, and it was like pure gold, like colored. Like I was like, no way, because that's so yellow. Like I just drinking like a mofo, and it was still absolutely dark yellow. So it was like, drink some more. Pretty much that's all I did in between riding was force as much water into my body as possible and food, and be ready to ride again.
Yeah, you gotta love it when you get the salt burn from your pee too.
That means it's potent.
Yep.
This group is annoying me.
Well, if they would just hold 3-0, we'd have a lot better drafting.
Yeah. I know.
Oh, they're doing 1K drills. What is this
Yeah,
group?
that's
I've never
what's
seen
going
them before.
Me neither.
Smashed it 1% faster.
Nice.
7% faster.
Whoa!
%.
Okay, now we're just getting crazy.
You win.
You win.
Wait, I've been doing like 2.5 to 3 the whole time. So if I do a Class C lap at 4, That'll give me a big percent. I'll take that.
Well, you only have to do the sprint. You don't even have to do the whole lap.
Ah, sweet. Because I just been soft pedaling through everything.
You'll get like 200% faster probably.
I believe you have a little more faith in my sprinting ability than I do.
Well, and it's downhill too, so honestly, you probably were going decently fast just from having some amount of speed going into it previously. You won't cut your time in half, I doubt. It's a lot easier to ride without having to talk.
But we love it when you talk. Your voice is soothing.
And I don't put out as much wattage? Is that what you said? Or do I put out more wattage, Eric, when I'm talking? Speaking of which, where are you, Eric? Oh, the group just might be big and I can't see you.
Yeah, it's when y'all start talking racing, the wattage goes up.
And then I slowly turned the screws on him for like 4 hours. Eric! Hello!
That's racing porn.
Eric did say the group was bugging him, but didn't expect him to just drop off.
I thought he was talking about the other riders, not us.
Well, apparently we know what he was really talking about now. So what kind of weekend plans you guys got?
Well, this will be my Saturday.
You mean just being on Zwift is what you're going to do on Saturday, or?
Yeah. And then watch a Tour de Suisse. And then probably Sunday I'll swim and run, maybe.
Okay.
Check 1, 2.
Hey. What
Yeah,
happened?
Mullet.
Sounds like me.
My whole computer just completely locked up. Everything. Full frozen.
Uh-huh. Yep. Let's get the camera on him. Let's see his legs. They're probably cramping. And he's blaming
it
the
was
computer.
crazy. The other thing is I've normally got my my stereo speakers muted.
Yep.
Because I'm using the headset here. Because I got a big stereo set up here. And it went to like full pink noise.
Oh,
Just
no.
unmuted. And I thought it was just my headphones at first because I had got earplugs in. I was like, geez, this is crazy. And I pulled the headphones out and it's just blasting down here. I'm sure everyone in the house is awake now.
Well, we were wondering, you said this group was really annoying you, and then you dropped off. And we thought you were talking about the other people. Yeah.
Man, it just completely froze. I mean, every screen, the mouse doesn't even wiggle. Full froze.
It was a virus from this group.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm on phone here while I reboot. This thing will come back up. That was crazy. I've never had that on this computer.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It is the fact that he was trying to render 1,000 Zwift newbie kits at once.
Something. I mean, it wasn't just, well, I guess maybe Zwift caused it, but it wasn't just a Zwift crash.
Right.
Total
Yeah.
meltdown.
I'll be right back. I gotta get some food. I'm bonking here.
Yeah, imagine my stream and everything just all went flat.
Mm-hmm.
Have we tried that group stream thing yet? Try.
No, we haven't.
Do test.
You should do it.
All right. Booting. I'd be pissed right now if my Garmin wasn't recording.
My one leg that was probably the hardest when I was trying to hold that pro mountain biker to the wheel, my power meter was acting up. So there's like
Man.
tons of sections where it would just cut out and come back.
Low battery?
No. I replaced the battery right before the event because as soon as I got to Utah, it was dead. And I said, "Ooh." On the one ride I did before the event, I noticed that and said, "Good thing I double checked everything right before I rode."
Good test, yeah. Oh, 50 programs here.
So I went through that new part of town that they put on the London course here. It's not bad. It's a nice little town. Lots of people walking on the street.
Like you can
It's
run them
weird
over.
when you cross through those sections and you hear people chattering.
Yeah, I'm not used to it. Is there a setting to turn those voices off? Because I would do it.
Antipsychotics.
Antipsychotics.
I mean, I have conversations with them.
Did you say antipsychotics, Andy?
Son of a...
Yeah, you're hearing voices in your head. You clearly need some drugs.
Hey, look, you converse with who you want, with whom you want. I converse with whom I want. Sometimes they're there, sometimes they're not.
Don't judge the people I talk to.
My phone just crashed and I'm just sitting here talking to myself right then, too.
Oh, we can hear you at least.
I am having an awesome issue down here. Everything's crashing.
There goes a race. No power came through us.
I can just see it now. Stephanie's going to Baker rack you, saying, look, officer, he's sitting down there talking to himself for an hour and a half. He says he's got these friends, but I've never seen him.
Dude is crazy.
And the worst part is, he's going to then go watch himself talk for an hour and a half when he watches the recording at work.
He'll watch it again.
He definitely needs help, officer. He needs the loony bin is what he needs.
And then she's going to make off with all your prolific cycling earnings.
That I've already spent.
You have it spent before you even got home.
Right?
So what's next on the wife's agenda for triathlons?
July 8th Hayden Lake Triathlon. Probably another sprint distance.
Just throwing this out there. It's an option. You know, throw it back if you're not right into it. Coeur d'Alene has got their last. It's its last year this year.
For the
Easy trip
full.
over to Idaho.
Oh,
I heard it's
soak
really
it up
nice
while it's
weather.
there.
Let me
Super
check.
easy course.
$700 entry fee. I hate running. I haven't ever swam in the last 10 years.
I was talking
No.
about your wife, not you.
Yeah, no. Yeah, Coeur d'Alene's super close. I routinely do bike rides over there and back.
So there you go. You can bring her out there. She can do the Ironman. You can go for a ride.
Yeah, no, she's not that crazy. Yet.
The operative word.
Hey guys, I'm out. Thanks for story time, Wags.
Hey, thanks for coming, Damon.
Mike, check.
Mic check.
1, 2.
1, 2.
You're doubling
Okay,
up.
okay. Computer's back.
Computer's back. Kill iOS there.
So Andy, did you run this morning?
Yep.
And
And what?
how'd it go?
Chrome did not shut down correctly.
All right, I was taking it easy, as I've been told.
So why are you venturing into this world of running, Andy? What's possessing you?
Because he's cool.
You've been,
We're just trying to keep up with
Because
you.
Because your bike broke?
Oh. You guys are talking, but I can't hear you. Man, this
okay,
is
we
annoying.
can hear you, Eric, if this helps at all. You've been talking to Alex and Ian too much again, haven't you, Andy?
Yep, they're my heroes. Not tall, lanky bastards like you.
Hey, my parents were married. Still are, in fact.
Alex and I have just been sending him pictures of ourselves after he'd done with our runs, and it's brought him over the dark side.
The ones in the shower are a bit too much, though.
I was
That's
waiting
not
for
what you
it.
said yesterday.
I believe what he said was, oh baby, more please.
Wait,
That's what I
what?
heard.
What's going on?
It's all being recorded, right?
Yes, it is. So, Eric, can you hear us, Eric?
Yeah, I hear you.
Andy apparently has been running recently, and we've been trying to figure out why on earth he would do such a thing. And he says, we asked him if he's been hanging out with Andy and Alex, or Ian and Alex too much. And they said, yeah, they've been sending me all these pictures of themselves after they get done running, although the ones in the shower were a bit much. And Ian says, that's not what you said the other day. To which I replied, I think the exact words were, oh baby, more please.
Whoa.
See, those are the kind of things you miss out on the wagon if you have technical difficulties.
Yeah, good thing I got backup Discord going on with my.
That's quite ironic. Good thing I got back up Discord and then he goes quiet.
Wait, you can't hear me?
Well, good morning, Paul Essen. Thanks for joining us. Afternoon, evening, I'm not sure which time zone you're in.
Bearing in mind our last conversation, I am now going to leave you on Discord before I get in the shower.
All right, Andy, I'll send you more pictures later.
Excellent. I'll pass them on to my wife.
Hey, that's probably the best way to do it. She likes them.
See you all. Have a good day.
See ya.
Yeah.
See ya.
Oh, you might be on push to talk. You might need to use push to talk. I see you changing your mute settings.
Yeah, thanks.
There you go. Apparently, I'm 4 seconds behind you boys.
Yeah, so yesterday I'm doing the Army birthday thing here because I'm the only one who has a house to do it. And at 5:20, I finally told everyone, hey, sorry guys, y'all gotta go. I gotta teach a class at 6:30. Like, oh, what are you gonna teach? Cycling?
Online. My virtual friends.
So they all sit off camera and watch?
No, thank goodness. No, it was just funny because, they're all thinking, oh, this guy's actually like a professor on the side too. And I was like, kind of.
Something like that.
Professor of pain, maybe, but not like a university professor. I'm not the doctor.
The doctor who decides he doesn't want to pay for a coach, so he publicly challenges a coach in the group to make a workout plan for him.
Yeah, did you notice that?
Yeah. You can't design a plan that'll make me get through this race.
There's no way it's possible.
There's no way you could just put it up on my Training Peaks with this account.
Bussy is like, Bussy says, maybe you should ride twice in 10 days.
That's awesome.
So, in your meme, challenge accepted. Ride the wagon, dude.
Yeah, where is he? I'm gonna call him.
Well, I mean, he is a academic, and it is summertime. I would be sleeping in if I were him.
Yep, that's the real problem.
He can't use that excuse because he doesn't join us for skills and drills either, which would be like afternoon for him.
Yeah, I'm really waiting to see what excuses he pulls out after Jason does make a plan for him. Jason needs to make his plan public to the whole group and make a public Google Calendar.
Chris said he was willing to do whatever, doubles a day, whatever.
So Jason has to make this thing public, and we're all going to follow it and harass Chris when he doesn't do his workouts. Not if, but when.
When?
Yeah, they're gonna be posting. Why do I have to do naked spike lunges? This makes no sense.
That's weird. I guess he knows.
I don't understand why I have to mount a sword underneath the pull-up bar in case I drop. What's this part about Allie whipping me every time I go below 200 watts?
Oh, and him and Bussy went back and forth a little, and then Chris posted a frowny face, and then Bussy was like, "Sorry, man, I just miss you." So then I just posted another meme of Champ Kind from Anchorman.
Yeah.
When he says, "I just miss your smell, miss your musk, man."
What's the photo that Chris always uses from? It's like two cowboys hugging each other. I don't know what it's from.
Brokeback Mountain, yeah.
Brokeback Mountain, yeah.
Yeah, it's hard because Chris is so nice. When you meet him, it's like punching a puppy.
Club TTR, I'm guessing, was that big group. Check Club TTR Facebook. Whatever that is.
You talking to Alexa or something?
No, so there was a big, massive group that kept passing us, and I just saw an in-game message that said it might be what group it was.
No, I know, but you just said check TTR Facebook. That's yeah, I know who you're talking to, buddy.
I was telling you guys to do it.
It was Alexa.
Hey, Ian, check Club TTR Facebook. Tell us what it's about.
I'm sorry, but there's something you can eat right now.
Oh, thank you. I've got a fig bar right here.
Yes, that's it.
TTR. Stephen Wu is associated with them. It's in a different language, too.
Ah, that makes sense. So I saw those high power numbers.
Training Taiwan ride.
Ah.
Wait, does that mean we can't recognize them as a real ride because they're Taiwan?
Yep, pretty much.
So we acknowledge that there's a ride, it's just not that it's Taiwanese, I guess.
There's some ride taking place. An annoying one.
Right.
I don't know where you guys went. If you're behind in front of me. Oh, there you are. Behind.
A little behind you.
Yeah, you're right there.
Brett's right here still too. Sit up a little bit till we find him. Here he is.
Sticky drafts.
Oh, good. You're doing pretty dang good on these wagons, Brett. You've been getting longer and longer, yeah?
Yep. Building the TSS.
Nice.
How much TSS is typical for you when you come on the wagon?
I think if I do 50 miles, it's like 110, 120.
Okay. It's like, what, 2 hours?
Yeah. Yep.
Because, you know, we all do 50 miles in 2 hours outside all the time.
Yep. No problem.
Exactly. All the roads are perfectly smooth. It never rains.
Massive
Actually,
drafting packs, no stop signs, arrow
Yeah.
position all day long. Yep.
Y'all are describing my daily ride.
10% faster!
Ooh, me too. 10%.
Brett, how about you? Oh, hold on, Eric.
4% slower.
We're getting pulled away from Brett. Gotta drop off that group.
Let's turn next time through and try the new London
I'm
section.
game. You wanna do it, Brett?
Come back. Yeah.
What's that?
You wanna go check out the new road?
Yeah, absolutely.
Classic course is getting ridiculous. So many.
Eric, you're getting pulled ahead by a massive pack, by the way.
Oh, okay. That's what I'm talking about. It's annoying. People on Classic.
Yep.
So be careful, they'll zap your computer again.
Blame them. Still not fully functional. I need to screw with it more. Audio's messed up.
Yeah, you might have to like stop pedaling because the gap looks like it's still growing.
Okay.
There you go.
So somebody's going to have to pay attention to wherever we need to click turn.
Who knows? Does anybody know?
I think it's right as we go through the square with, you used to have 3 choices, now 4 choices, or you used to have 2 and now there's 3.
Okay.
I think it's exactly right.
I think one of the things they need to do on Zwift here is they need to do something where I can see where my TSS is during the ride.
That's why you run the Garmin on the side.
I don't do that.
That makes too much sense.
What are we up to? 95. Plus, then when Zwift crashes, it's no big deal. Plus, recording sucks.
Tell us how you really feel about it, Eric.
No. Saw nobody wanted to feed the fire there when I started ranting in the Zada channel.
I'm in one of those weeks where nothing's super hard. There's just a lot of it.
I should do more of those kind of weeks.
Well, except my swim on Tuesday, that was hard. That was a lot of 50s. I couldn't really wash my hair afterwards. I had to bend my head down to my hands.
I did the 20-minute SSTs for the first time, I think on Saturday.
Yeah.
Those are eye-opening.
3x20 at SST.
Yeah, it's like 20
Okay.
by 3, I think.
We're going straight, right, or left?
Right, I think.
You sure? All right, go right.
Pick and right. Pick and
Pick and right.
Go
Pick
right.
and right. I think we'll have to turn around and come back
This'll
to the
do it.
square. Because this is going to just take us back to the starting line.
No, here's new right here. We just
Sure.
fresh.
Now this looks like
No,
the lead into Trafalgar Square from the starting line.
Yep.
Hey, he's here.
No way.
Oh, this is new. We've never gone to the bridge. This is all new.
No, it's not new.
Really?
It's just, I think this is just the reverse of what we're used to.
What we're
Yeah.
used to.
Does anybody know where it connects in?
This is kind of here. Pull up a map.
I have I saw a new turn when we went into Trafalgar Square the first time. So let's do a U-turn right here.
A Yui?
Full Yui, yes. Full Yui
Okay.
now.
2, 3.
There'll be a new direction to choose
Now
Once
we're
we
really
get-
getting lost.
once we come into Trafalgar Square. There'll be a new direction. I remember seeing it when we started.
Yeah, and I think it's straight.
Yeah.
I want to say it's straight.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's straight when you come up to the 3 choices. That's the way I just went. I think I'm on the new course.
So we were just going the wrong way.
I think
To be
if we
fair,
had
though,
gone
most
if we
time
had
I'm
gone
on
through the
I'm on this area
1K,
flat out.
we would have seen a new turn after 1K, I think. Before you went
Oh.
onto the red carpet. That's my guess.
Another one then? Huh.
Well, it all leads to the same place. It's just
Yeah.
an exit off of Trafalgar Square.
Yeah, what's supposed to be different about it?
So
It's
which
new.
way are we going?
We're gonna go straight.
That is a new icon.
Hello there, Dr. Haskell. Are you going to join us today?
I think this qualifies as joining you.
You in the
He
car or
posts
something?
that post and says how willing he is to work. Doubles a day, whatever it takes.
I'm up. I'm up.
He's awake. What else do you
Waking up
want?
is not a workout. Waking up is not a workout, Chris.
I know, but hey, it is the first step. Every great journey, my friend, begins with just one step.
I see you didn't disable your Trex headset driver either. All right.
Here we go. This is the new one right here.
I'm not on that. Not on that machine.
No, actually, though, you're right, Chris. I remember in Beowulf when I read that, it starts off with Beowulf woke up today, sat up with a bowl of cereal, then went back to bed saying, "Good start."
One step at a time.
All right, I gotta figure out how. I'm in the car. I gotta figure out how to make this thing not shut off every time the screen goes to sleep. Is there an easy way on the app to do that?
Push to talk.
I think it's a Discord bug because.
Well, but Patty says
it
it's
happened
gone
to him,
now.
But it doesn't happen to me last time.
Maybe you need an
Oh,
update.
actually, I'm on Discord right now. I'm on iOS with the dark screen. It's working. I think the latest version just works. So
Make sure, you don't need an update. Yeah.
All right, I'll
Looks
check.
like all the other streams.
It's pretty anticlimactic.
Yeah.
But it's supposed to have some new feature that like attached to it that you've never had before.
Let's see. There's a road
No.
where you can ride on.
There's some buses. See those before.
Yep. Looks like the rest of London. There's way less people on it.
And some more buses. Look at this. It's just repeating.
It feels like it is. The new feature is we're all looking for a feature that doesn't exist.
Wonder if there's a cafe you can pull over.
See, that's what Chris is going to say when he gets on his first workout from Jason. I had to stop at every building to make sure there wasn't some Easter egg.
Where's the cafe?
I noticed they sprinkled in some cyclists with the pedestrians.
Yeah, I
Every
see
once in a while, you'll
some
yeah.
bikes sitting back on the bike rack back there. Yeah.
It looks decently long.
Yeah. But it just looks the same visually. More of the same.
I mean, maybe it'll change here in a minute. We're like, what, maybe a quarter of the way through it?
What's annoying is there's no way to ride it without including the hills, Fox Hill. There's no
really?
flat course option. Yeah. So I looked at it this morning, and they've got these loops and figure eights and everything, but there's no way to just say
oh, on a pre-configured course.
Yeah, on a pre-configured. No way to just say ride flat, ride this and classique. Tunnel.
We went through a tunnel.
Now the houses are on the other side of the road.
It looks more like residences rather than businesses.
Yeah, kind of.
Maybe a third of the way through it now.
The flying pig is somewhere around here.
Yeah, they definitely need like London flat, which gets everything or something like that.
Yeah, totally. They got Volcano flat both on Utopia.
They spent a lot of time on something that appears quite anticlimactic.
Yep.
I was kind of hoping they'd take us through some bad neighborhoods of London.
That building looks cool. Whatever that is.
Andy will tell you there are no bad neighborhoods in London.
And we all know how much of a liar Andy is, so.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm telling you what you already know, but he is way cooler than all of us.
You're just a Europhile, Haskell.
I'm an Andy file, is what it is.
I thought that these buses blocking the side roads were kind of cool. Well, they did it on every single side road.
Right?
It just makes me think there's a lot of broken down buses in London.
I know.
Yeah. Hey, did they roll it out, or did you guys find some way to hack into it?
Oh, it's been rolled out.
It's rolled out.
I mean, I've seen Eric, rides it and stuff like that.
He is the CEO of the company.
Well, yeah.
They usually throw it to him a week before it comes out.
Well, what is the new innovation that caused the delay of this? There's supposed to be some new innovation associated with it.
They have closed course racing.
Oh, maybe that's the innovation that was associated with this rollout.
Yeah,
They claim they fixed a lot of bugs.
And we can do cat and mouse with separate starting pens that all see each other and all go off at the right starting times, supposedly.
Supposedly, other than the first groups that tried new features yesterday, it was already
fell
broken.
apart. Yeah.
Well, there is one thing when you do sign up for an event, A, B, C, D, or E, or whatever. Once you're in the event, next to your name, you see whatever category you're in.
Yeah, they said they added that, so you don't put it in your name.
That's nice. That would be an official improvement.
That's only
Although
if
if
your
they
race
spent-
is set up that way with the separate pens.
Right.
Well, which we can do.
Don't do on pretty much all of ours, other than cat and mouse.
WBR now can have more races.
Maybe what it is, maybe if you have separate pens, but they all go off at the same time, there'd still be a gap. I don't know.
There's the pig, straight ahead.
Okay.
It's a pig?
Flying pig.
Flying piggy. Yeah.
Whoa, there's a bike lane. Look at that.
Whoa.
Why aren't we riding in it?
Right?
New feature.
Oh, people are walking on the sidewalk.
Bike lanes aren't green like states there, huh?
See, if we did the version for here, they'd be just walking in the road, randomly crossing in front of you.
Just like darting, just like stopping, going, just be on your toes.
No, just stepping
gonna
out,
go?
walking without even looking, moseying, taking the least effective angle across the street.
Oh, you're riding here? Oh.
You know, I'm making another step. I'm getting my cyclocross bike down so that
I thought you were in the car. Home? Ready to ride? Nothing.
He woke up and moved to the car because that was the training to get to go to the riding location.
He was actually just in the car in the driveway. Just moved it out of the garage.
Yeah, no, of course. That's step 2 is practice getting to the car. Again, that's what I read in Beowulf. Sorry, Chris, you missed
There are
our earlier
still some,
conversation about how much we love you.
Oh. Well,
Check,
you guys are kind of
check the tapes.
All right, I'll go back and check the tapes.
We condensed a 26-hour-long race into 90 minutes for you, Chris.
Really? That seems a little long. Is there a recap of that?
Yeah, here it
Recap
is.
of the
Justin's
recap.
team went faster than all but one other team.
And there was some drama involved.
And Dave Zabriskie just proved there's a huge difference between all of us normal people and pro cyclists.
Yes.
And dopers.
Yeah, potato.
There we go.
Although I do have to admit, that would be a really awkward conversation if one of my teammates or the team doctor came up to me and said, "Hey, Ian, you're doing really good, and I have something I want to stick in your butt."
That escalated quickly.
I imagine that's how all doping conversations go, isn't it?
Wow.
I want to help you be the better version of yourself. Let me stick something.
Oh, we're going straight here, by the way, I guess.
Oh yeah, we're back.
Much worse if it comes from your teammate after the race, I'm sure. We're going to get ready to go to bed.
Much worse if it comes from a stranger at a bus stop.
And we're done with that conversation.
Yeah, no more EPO talk. No more EPO talk.
We're back on normal courses too. Swift GPS needs to update their map.
Wow, look at the guy's name from Germany in front of us. Team Porno Al Forno.
Hey, what? I don't see that guy.
Wait for the German flag up ahead of us. Maybe we won't see him. Straight again? Yeah.
It's trying to turn left, but yeah, we can go.
Go straight, go straight. We'll be on our normal classic loop.
Yeah, we will.
Sorry, fellas, it just keeps shutting off.
Well, if you're on push to talk, the screen won't go off. But if you're on voice, we'll still hear you, but the screen will go blank.
Fact. Okay.
I'm gonna start refusing to talk to you anyway when you're using those Trex mics.
This one is not a Trex. It's my other one, but it is the same kind.
Gotta be Bluetooth still.
Yeah, Bluetooth crappy wrap around your head. Get my other bike set up. Eric heard me rant about this the other day, but I am officially over my time trial bike and we'll be selling it after this weekend.
Sell it to Justin. He needs one. Although, no, he needs a bike that fits, actually.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I like Justin too much to sell him this one.
I heard Glenn Knight needs a TT bike.
Took it with you.
Yeah, well, it has to be in between how I feel about Justin and how I feel about Glenn.
It's still
So you
too
can just
nice for
loosen
him.
up.
No, it's horrible.
You can loosen everything up on it so it just falls apart on the first big bump. I'm sorry, that was mean.
Speaking of bikes falling apart or not falling apart, did I tell you guys the story about my seat post bolt?
At the same race?
Yes, same race. Well, it actually started several months before the race when I didn't have a torque wrench and I over tightened the bolts into my seat post and slightly started to strip out the bolt head or the slot in the middle for the hex wrench. Well, I said, you know, as long as I don't push that hard anymore, I can still get it in and out, which I did for a while. And then I take it apart, take it down to Utah, I get the height set, put in one of the bolts, tighten it, and there goes the last bit of grip on the inside of the bolt pattern. Whoops. So here I am trying to figure out ways to fix it. I went and bought, this is all before the race, I went and bought an easy out set from Home Depot. I had my sister's drill. I had my bike sitting on her essentially coffee table ottoman thing, standing over it with a corded drill, thinking, what could possibly go wrong?
Yeah. Plus, I've never had good luck with those easy outs.
Yeah, well, so I tried a little bit, didn't have any success, and I said, you know what? Your seat post is at the right height, and it's not going anywhere. It's in there. So, race your bike, Justin. Any risk you take is just putting way too much on the line. And worst comes to worst, if you can't get the bolt out, you can cut your seat post off, but to put it back in the bike box and get it home and be able to then take the bolt out once you get home somehow.
Getting serious.
Yeah, I mean, that would have been expensive because it's like a specialty carbon aero seat post, but it would have been cheaper than a new frame. So that was the game plan. I did go to Ace Hardware. I did find the right size bolts. Once I found the right bolt length and threading, I had 2 different kinds of metals and 3 different kinds of bolt heads to choose from. So 6 different styles.
So you got them all.
No, I settled on just one kind of metal and 2 different bolt heads. I wasn't sure which would fit better. And I got 4 of each, one for each of my, or a set for both my seat posts. Anyway, so after the race, I took it all over to one of my teammates' house on Saturday afternoon, or Sunday afternoon, excuse me.
Get
And,
this thing off.
we tried drilling it out so we could have a deeper hole for the easy out. And after he pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed, and I'm thinking, man, do you want me to buy you a new drill bit? That thing's dull. He goes, are these bolts titanium? I said, here's the other one. He goes, yeah, these are friggin' titanium.
Time to get the torch out.
So luckily, the bolt head was sticking out over the carbon frame by like just enough millimeters that we got.
Clamp onto it or something.
Yeah, totally. We got like a vice grip pliers.
Yep.
Clamped onto it and turned it, and away it came. But man,
Wow.
it was like, note to self, always use a torque wrench. And once you start to screw up a bolt, get rid of it immediately.
Put a new bolt in.
Yes. Man, I was like, I just have a really bad feeling as I've got my sister's drill over her ottoman, pushing down on the carbon frame into a bolt, and I'm like, risks here are quite high right now.
Oh my gosh, there's so much disaster right there just available for you to pluck off the line.
Even if you didn't damage your bike, the drill bit slipping into her ottoman would have been pretty good too.
Right? What's that picture of, Thorin?
The only thing that story missed was here holding my beer.
It was water, because it would have been root beer after the race, but before the race. Hey, there's the guy in front of us. Look at the German flag in front of us, Eric. Team Porno Al Forno.
Nice.
Tom Ace. Not that I need to draw attention to that, but I just did. Hey, hey, hey!
And then he's gone again. I don't see him again.
Check out Thorin's kit in the Discord chat.
Nice.
Looking at it.
Nice. Tom looks good.
You don't think he can hear us? You type in a message. He's not in the audio channel.
All right, gents, I gotta go. I gotta get cleaned up. I got a meeting here in a little bit.
Alrighty. Don't drop the bomb on my city this time, please.
I make no promises. Depends how angry I get.
So last night I'm at Winco doing grocery shopping in the
Buying fig bars.
deli section. And
Or muscle milk. It was muscle milk.
no, it was just a big bag of dried cranberries for my oatmeal this time. And a whole lot of other stuff for my family and me.
Frosted mini wheats.
It might be getting time for a new one of those, actually, but not right now. So I'm asking for meat at the deli counter, and the lady says, "What's team odds?" Because I'm wearing my ODZ polo T-shirt with the
Nice.
collared. I said, "Oh, it's a cycling team, and it's pronounced ODZ." She goes, "Oh, cool." I didn't even dare broach the whole virtual topic. It just right.
It's a bunch of us that get together on our computers.
Oh my gosh, Chris! Look in the chat. Chris said, "Do you two-man luge?"
The wonder talk.
Oh my gosh. Brett, we have to find the recording of the two-man luge.
I think I just need to repost the transcript.
Oh man, you need to write it out so people can read it.
Oh, I have. No,
It is written out somewhere. Yeah, you posted it to our team site back when it happened. Find
Is
that.
that thing still up?
I think it may have just been taken down recently. It's probably still on the server though.
Probably. All right, I'll reach out to Nate and see if he can fish it out for me.
Retrieve the archives.
Yeah, that one is a.
Brett, make
Actually,
a note.
I think it was reposted to the team Facebook site at one point too. I bet you could go to that one and
Oh yeah,
just
you're right.
search Wumper.
I'll go look for it and then maybe repost it.
We might even have it in one of our previously on ODZ recordings from the Wagon.
They
Yeah,
have it there too.
yeah, it's there.
So, Brett, remind us, if Chris doesn't pull that out, that you want to hear the two-man luge / Wumper story.
All right.
It's a good one.
I thought it was maybe a KISS time trial, like a team.
That's not kissing they're doing, Brett.
That's Arrow. It's Arrow. That's all you need to know.
Yeah.
Don't stare. Let's walk over here.
We'll tell you when you're older, Brett.
Once I get more stripes.
Stephanie just got back from her ride. Hey, hun.
So you're out in the shop watching the kids.
What'd you say, hun?
Watching.
Did you just say Wumper?
She heard you talking through the garage door about Wumpers.
She says, "Did you stop talking about wumping because I came in the garage?"
Nice.
I'm not sure wumping is the correct term.
It's Wumper or it's luging. Luging or
You're-
lug.
The Wumper position.
position. Oh
Yeah,
my gosh.
really, it's more of a role than a position, but
Oh gosh.
and it's made up. The word is entirely made up.
But it's so perfect.
15 minutes, boys.
I think I can make it to the end.
You haven't made it to the start yet.
Considering you haven't started riding, Eric, Chris, somebody,
Hey.
Chris.
Celebrate this success, man. Celebrate it. I'm talking with you.
I know. I'm just,
I'm
Chris.
awake.
It wouldn't be. You wouldn't come back for more if we didn't harass you.
This is
It's
true.
8 a.m. You should be awake.
Yeah, but I'm up actually getting the house ready for visitors.
Your Wumper friends.
My yeah.
Well, Bob came by the house last night to borrow my 4-bike rack. They're going on a trip this weekend. I guess it's actually going to be pretty close to Boise, so he may hit you guys up.
Oh, that's
Where's he headed?
He didn't say exactly. He said it wasn't exactly Boise, but it was nearby. That's all I know.
So specific.
Yeah. You should ask him. I'm sure he'll tell you. But yeah, I think they're going to be there for the weekend.
Like he's camping or something?
The family reunion, I think, of some sort.
Oh yeah, I know where that is.
Yeah, we got it.
I mean, there's only like one family reunion ever in Boise, so it should be easy to find.
It's outside of town.
Yeah. You'll get it. You know,
Yeah,
just go down that road and take the turn. You can't miss it.
since I'm an only child, my family reunion is just sad. just me.
You know, I met your mom. I have no idea how you came out of that woman. That came out wrong
what?
also.
I have pictures.
I have pictures. Oh man. Open the gap. Open the gap.
Oh, here we go. This again.
Oh dear.
So, Brett, are you familiar with the fact that Eric has a sister who rides with us?
Yeah.
Sure,
Yep.
Charisse McMullen. So
Yeah.
she rode with us, got pregnant, continued to ride with us, all the way through to the point where she actually rode on her bike to the hospital the day she delivered,
Correct.
and posted a top 10 result on Strava while doing so.
Probably got some QOMs on the way there. Yep.
That's freaking
Oh
amazing.
yeah.
So somehow one day there was conversation that got on that topic, and there was some analogies made between birthing canals and gaps being opened across chase groups. It got out of hand. And I believe
Let's
the
be
words,
clear, I was not part of it. I was not part of this
I
conversation.
think the thing Eric said was, dude, that's my sister.
Oh wait, I was part of that conversation.
I think Charisse and Tiffany were both here that day, too. That's recorded somewhere. Cause
Oh,
I
that
remember
is,
you
absolutely.
A couple times and listening to it.
Yeah, and we actually know very precisely the size of Justin's mouth because he regularly puts his foot in it. So it's definitely an 11 and a half.
The entire foot.
Exactly.
Oh, man.
To your credit, Jay, that you you say things and we take them wrong. You don't intend them to be dirty. It's people like Bussy and I who are like, dang.
You're like, what?
Well-
and then Justin realizes, just said.
You give me way more innocence credit half of the time. I'll put it that way.
Oh man.
So the turn is actually in this spot right here. It just doesn't let you.
Maybe what you have to do
when you're going down this.
Yeah.
Till you go down the strand and back, then you take.
Yeah. You guys want to do that segment again?
I think it's. Sure. I think it's in that same spot.
Let's take the turn here after the 1K Vanner to go on the new road again.
Yeah, I've got the Zwift map open here. We'll see where it actually slots it in. Although, I mean, it needs to end early.
Kid flat?
Well, Mom's going to be here to watch him at 9. Have to hurry.
Yeah, you gotta make sure that looks like that whole situation
looks like it's under control.
Level. Yeah, it's gotta be Jamie level under control.
Like just chilling out. What's up? Oh, you made it.
Oh, they don't even give us the option to turn here.
Oh, it's right there too.
I know.
What the heck?
Lame-o.
Hard to get onto that course then.
No reverse available?
I bet you there's a reverse entry.
Right there though.
When we usually take a left at Big Bend, let's take a right and see if we can go reverse.
Yeah,
on
that'll make it easy. You go right and you'll section right to the bridge.
Yep.
Another
and then
right.
go straight instead of going on the turn.
Yeah. Yeah.
On the bridge.
I was there. I was in London. I didn't see Big Ben or Tower of London. Yeah, I didn't see Trafalgar Square. I didn't go through any of that stuff.
None of it. You didn't even stand at the sprint line?
Nope. I wanted to, but I just, there wasn't enough time.
Dude.
It probably looks better in virtual reality anyway.
I had this hope of like going out there with a couple of people and actually shooting something from Trafalgar Square, just right in the center there. But it just never happened.
Yeah, I'm gonna cool down a little bit here.
Okay.
Lose you guys.
I never got Wags' feedback on the broadcast and all the secret shade I was throwing.
You know, I wish I was able to watch more than I did because it was cutting in and out, and I was really slammed at work trying to get everything done before I left for my Utah race. So unfortunately, I didn't see very much.
The out thing was just so much work. I had to reload times.
So I'm sorry, Chris. I don't have good feedback. I have every intent of wanting to watch it. I just, almost as much of a whirlwind of traveling as you have since that time.
Except he's been traveling and riding.
Yeah. Gauntlet thrown.
Eric's usually an apologist for me. That was like unmistakable. Just like
well, actually, not just riding, but
just
racing.
Sitting on the table. Come on.
Here we go.
Racing and, dare we say, no, we won't. We'll just leave it at racing. I'll let your minds consider what I might have said. Would have been something extremely humble. I'm sure of it.
Yeah. No foot involved.
I'm the most humble person here.
Totally winning humble. How many more of your Tuesday nighters are left, Justin?
Only like 3. They actually don't have one until this Tuesday after 4th of July. But we've been doing throwdowns instead. So like this Tuesday, they said, hey, let's go meet up at this course we usually race on and make it a paper plate race. And it was actually a legit paper plate race because the dude went out and put paper plates on stakes and drew arrows on them at the turns.
Oh, actually, that's pretty cool.
And put checkered paper plates at the finish.
Legit.
That's a legit paper plate race right there.
Hold on, let me check. Let me check this. Yeah, verified legit.
Yep.
So your locals go until the end of July.
Say what?
Your local Tuesday nighters go until the end of July.
I think so. It might be one at the very beginning of August, but yeah, there's only like 3 left, and they're all in July or very early August. And the 2, I think it goes like, one of them is a road race. It has the uphill finish, the one that I won with a decent gap. And we have a crit in a neighborhood that had the kids race beforehand that Seth has been training for a year.
Awesome.
And then I think another one on that car racing circuit.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm so jealous of that car racing circuit.
It gets boring though, to be honest.
You guys dressed?
Try a parking lot.
Right?
All right. See you guys later.
See you, Eric.
Kid flat. Tell
Kid
those kids
flat.
I said hi.
Chris says hi. Talking to him
Later.
right now.
Hi.
What's going on?
Hi.
What are you doing? Are you awake?
Oh, yes.
Bald
Are
cat.
you
Um,
gonna hang
I
out
think
with
he's
Grandma
lying. I think
today?
he's still asleep.
He could be. This could be a dream.
All right. See you guys.
I'm holding a sphinx.
What? Alrighty. Well, I'll talk to you soon. We were unable to replicate the Denning family photo on that Splash Mountain, but we tried.
Must have been a failure. See the attempt.
Well, we did end up on the same one, but single rider line. It's a lot faster, but,
Way faster though.
And they do not allow you, if you're over 14, they do not allow adults to wear costumes.
Only
Bummer.
Chris would know that rule.
All right. See you guys.
See you,
All right,
Eric.
take it easy. My work travels are taking us to California so often now. I'm not kidding. We bought annual passes.
To Disneyland. Nice.
Well, they'll take what you have. If you like buy a 5-day, and then at the end of that 5-day you go, hey, we want to keep going. They'll upgrade you with what you've already spent to the annual pass.
Nice.
So it was $150 for each of us to like upgrade to the lowest version of the annual pass, which is no Saturdays, but That's
Good enough.
fine for us. Yeah, seriously, we live in Idaho and we have a Disneyland annual pass.
There's now the people walking in the street are all holding umbrellas, bouncing them up and down. They're not over their head. I wonder if when it starts raining, they'll put them over their head. But they're like, the umbrellas are out and deployed, but they're not over their head. They're just like holding them and going with whatever their arm movement's doing.
So I would venture to say that NPCs, basically these intelligent agents, or probably not really intelligent agents, are part of the new advancement.
I don't know. Those people don't seem very intelligent.
You know what we ought to do? We ought to brand them. Those are WBR writers.
Yeah, those ones that can't figure out that you're supposed to collapse the umbrella when you're not using it. Yep. Those are KISS guys. Hey, look, and Scotty the squirrel's on top of the flying pig.
Nice. So, Brett, what part of the world are you in?
So I'm down here in Texas.
Right? Oh, where in Texas?
About 90 miles north of Houston.
Okay. I got to go to San Antonio in a couple of weeks.
Oh, cool. Yeah, San Antonio's about 2.5 hours west.
That's awesome.
Oh, no.
What happened?
Thorin apparently was sending us those things from his actual ride. Because he said, I got a flat, grr, and no stuff to fix it, ugh. Got a call to get picked up.
Call of shame. I think we need a call of shame counter to see how many people have had to ever make the call of shame. There are times when I'll leave the house and I know I'm staying within 10 miles of my house, doing one of the circuits out here, that I'm like, well, it would be easier to make the call of shame than to have to actually try to fix this wheel or whatever.
Okay. Almost rounding off 115 kilometers, and we'll call it a day.
I'm going to get up and ride tomorrow morning. I'm putting it out there.
Whoa.
I'm totally not kidding about my TT bike. I'm selling that thing. And I'm actually kind of excited. I can't wait to sell it because it means that I'll be free of it. I hate time trial. I have always hated time trial. I'm never out on that bike. And as you know, with TT bikes, if it's not your main bike, there's just all these weird little problems that exist every time I try to get on this bike. Well, you've seen it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I hardly ever ride it, but also because it's like a Taiwanese, super cool looking frame.
Mm-hmm.
And so the tolerances on it are just weird. You know, the brakes are either touchy, or they just don't grab well enough. So it's like a death trap.
Right.
And my wife keeps saying, yeah, look, I think it'd be fun to mountain bike. So I'm like, all right, I'll sell this thing and I'll get us a couple of mountain bikes.
That's the real reason right there. And it's a good reason.
Well, that's riding with your wife's a special thing. So.
Talking about on the bike, right?
Yeah, as I would know since I've ridden with your wife. Hey, y'all.
Whoa.
Oh my gosh, there is a comedian that you need to hear if you haven't already discovered him. Kieran, he's a clean comedian.
Okay.
Actually sponsored by the guys from VidAngel. They're like promoting.
Wait, is he the one who did the closing act for their live feed?
I think yeah, it is.
I watched their live feed just recently, the recording of it.
Hilarious. He is hilarious.
All right, I'm gonna take down the stream here.